welcome everyone. This week we are speaking with leaders across the IT channel industry, and today I'm delighted to welcome Mukesh Gupta, who is the co-founder and managing director of e92plus Group, a value-added distributor with a focus on cybersecurity. Mukesh, thank you for joining and welcome.
Thank you, Alex. Good to be here.
So we've been trying to get this perspective from all the leaders we've been speaking with. Obviously, 2020 has been an interesting year. What's the biggest challenge that you've had to overcome in the business as you've been dealing with the crisis at your end?
Right, that's a good question. Obviously, being an IT company, soon as this lockdown and COVID-19 hit, we were ready for working from home, we've been ready, we've always been ready in that sort of way, but to deploy and get out there very quickly was fairly easy for us. So most of our staff was, almost immediately at home, ready to work. But I think the challenging part I've seen over that period, and I think that's sort of continuing as well, is that once people are operating from home and more so than what they ever did before, the whole interaction, the collaboration, the dynamics of our sort of business, is missing, right? Mm-hmm. And the buzz and the atmosphere that gets generated in a office environment where people are coming together and interacting, that starts disappearing, and it's very difficult from a business owner like myself then to see how we are doing. I'm having to now rely on data to give me the understanding of the performance and of individuals and the overall business. Whereas previously, you could look at it, you could see the atmosphere and the buzz and everything going on. That was very key, and it's simple to understand. Yeah, we're having a good day, we're having a good week, things are happening correctly, we've done a great launch, that sort of thing, and that makes it difficult. And I think that's been challenging. I think for some of our staff and our employees, it's been challenging because a lot of the coming to the office and working together, you learn from each other. The training aspect, that's going. How does one train? If you're sitting next to somebody in an office, then you can pick up things very quickly and you understand things, and they're more willing to show you. On a Zoom call, that's not quite the same, So that whole interaction is a challenge. I'm sure we're figuring ways around it and figuring out how we're going to deal with these and how we are dealing with it to come to, as the business moves on. We still have to continue, so these things have to happen. But I think, it's going to be some time before we get to that point where, this is great and this has worked. Yeah. I believe that we're going to be in this way for some time, and we have, as in our offices, we're back opened up again, just to allow that flow of people to come in as and when they choose to, and as they need to. So we've tried to overcome some of those challenges, but it's not going to be quite the same as it has been in the past.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely a lot of common themes that we've been talking across the industry, and it's a lot of internal looking and reevaluating as to how we, how do we do things, how we keep people motivated, how do we keep people connected.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
And the important part of this is that we're going to be make sure that the welfare of our staff is at paramount, and their health and so on. So we've got to take all that into consideration, and I think we've taken the steps to do so. But it's still, it's not going to be quite like the old days.
Mm-hmm. So your company's focused in cybersecurity. What's been the best performing part of your business this year? I mean, I don't know if you can call out either specific technology or specific type of customer, and any kind of highlights so far in 2020.
So we've seen we've created a couple of different divisions within our business, and we did that back in 2019. We created we called it E92 Cloud and E92 MSP. Now, both of them address different parts of the market. However, still in cybersecurity, that's where our fundamentals are. That's where our niches, and that's what we want to continue being, leaders in. But what the two divisions we've done is one, the MSP division, the E92 MSP, is addressing a consumption-based model. So it's a different way of taking our products and services to the market. And that has grown, over the last year around 500% in terms of both revenues, in terms of partners that we've grown with. That's been really good, and we believe that's going to continue as the model is proven, and we see that the marketplace, the end customers, are looking to consume software and hardware, software in that way. The other side has been our cloud division, and that's been focused around data centers, the technologies in the cloud, cloud security, that sort of thing. So again, it's we've taken the cybersecurity world and broken up into different segments that we feel that we can focus on and put teams behind those to drive that. The E92 Cloud has grown in immensely as well in the same sort of manner, and we don't see that stopping. We feel that that's going to continue. So both of those areas have helped us, to really to grow our business overall. We still have the traditional business, which is based around traditional licenses and corporate reselling and so on. So that still exists, and that's been growing. But the other two areas have grown very, very rapidly for us.
Yeah, interesting. We've said in the past that cloud seems to be one area that's proven to be pandemic proof. And MSP is another important area of cybersecurity that I definitely want to come back to in a bit later.
Yeah, and the cloud side, I mean, the way things have gone, the endpoint is obviously important. There's the endpoint and everything is moving to the cloud. So the two areas need to be robust, secure, and so on. So that's how we've seen it working.
Yeah. So one thing that always strikes me about the cybersecurity landscape from a vendor perspective, it's incredibly fragmented. There's thousands of vendors out there providing cybersecurity solutions. So as a value-added distributor in cybersecurity, what's your philosophy on how do you select vendors for your line card?
That's a very good question, and if we really had a silver bullet, I guess that we would have picked the best vendors all the time in every go. But sometimes there is a case of trial and error in these things. But there is a way we go through the process to make sure that we get the right feel and fit with the vendors. Firstly and foremost, our focus being around cybersecurity, we want to make sure that we are almost like the one-stop shop for that, right? And therefore, we need to make sure that we cover every aspect of that landscape. So every threat vector, every malware sort of angle, things like that. We want to make sure we have the products when our customers come to us and have a problem, that we can say, yeah, we have the solution for you. So from that point, we firstly trying to make sure that we don't take on products that are competing with each other. We make sure that if we do take products which are competing, then there must be a different marketplace that we can differentiate them in, or differentiators which take us to a different space, and then we can really add value to that. Otherwise, we like to add value to everything that we do, and we won't be able to do that. We like to sell solutions as opposed to just a product or something. It's really about the solution that fits that problem or fixes that pain point. Yeah. So we're going to look at it from that sort of those sorts of angles. And the other things are the commercial aspects, which are important. We want to be able to get into a long-term partnership. Not into a partnership that we don't trust each other. We don't. It's like being half married. We don't want to be in that sort of thing. We want to be fully engaged and working together in the full marriage, right? And therefore, those trust elements have got to be clear. Each party needs to understand what have the expectations set correctly, and they understand what we are looking to do, what we can do for them, and their expectations on that. So those have to match. we do have we have had times where we've taken on vendors and their expectation is very different to what we are going to deliver. And that's when things fall apart. That's when we have the divorce, if that's the words to use then, right? We just go our separate ways because it doesn't seem to want to, our expectations were here, their expectations were somewhere totally different. And it was never going to work. So that is key on the commercial side of things. That that we've got to have those things working happily. Sometimes what I think vendors need to understand is that what they put into into the channel is what they're going to receive out. So if they invest into that, invest into us, invest into the whole channel, then they will receive dividends from that, right? And that's quite key in terms of marketing funds, development, and all these sorts of things that that go around in doing that. It's not just simple. Here's our wonderful product, and because there is, like as you said, there is an array of these, and there's lots of products out there. It's got to come with the whole unique package behind it. Here's our product, and this is how we're going to help you, and this is what we need from you. I mean, through the channel, the channel's there as a force multiplier, so we can reach a lot of partners, and in turn they reach a lot of end customers, which can really accelerate the vendor's product to the market very, very quickly. It's how to tap into that, how to use that correctly. It's not just simply as, here you go, here's our technology, and we'll see you in 6 months, and we expect dollars to start coming through. It's not simple as that. It takes a lot more. So choosing a vendor is very important. The technology obviously comes first, right? Is it fitting our portfolio? Is there space for us to do this? Is it competitive to anything? And second part is the commercials right? Do those work? Is there investment going to be? Is there investment from the vendor? And thirdly, it's got to make money for everybody, right? And therefore, that is key. That part of it is also important. So that's sort of how we go through the process, and it doesn't happen just in those steps. Sometimes it comes in a different. The third step could be the first step, and so on. So there are lots of different ways of looking at it, but that fundamentally fits the whole thing around it. And yes, over the years that we've been in business, which is nearly 31 years now, that has been our approach, and we've launched and taken on many vendors from startups to some of them which are huge organizations today. Some have gone now, but a lot of them are still continuing, and some of them are still with us. So we've done the right things. The marriage has worked, and it's been a long-term one. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's all very well said, and it's a good reminder to the vendors that can't just lean on their products. They need to have that kind of channel DNA and that willingness to be part of the relationship.
Yeah, I think some just some of the vendors do come and their expectation is quite high with very, very and rather they don't. It takes time for this to happen. Sometimes not even about investment of money, but it takes a bit of time to get the whole process going. And their expectation is in 3 months they're going to get $1 million, but not necessary. Yeah, it takes a bit longer than that sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll be all happy if they did. If it did work like that, don't worry. I'll be the first one jumping up and down excited. But, yeah.
So I want to ask now about the other side of the ecosystem and the channel partner side of things. What attributes do you think a modern cybersecurity partner needs to have to be successful in cybersecurity this day and age?
That's a good question. So I think the cybersecurity, every organization, every end user, even every company needs some sort of protection and needs to have a strategy and things and people implementing these things and getting it right. So one of the key things about what we do is that, and that's why that's why we are in this game, and that's why we call ourselves a value-added distributor. So when we go to our partners, our expectation is that we want to address all of our partners, right? And some have expertise in certain areas, and some will have expertise in different areas. Some may be very heavy on sales and relationships, and some will be the other side, which may be technology or technical people and engineers, and may not have all the expertise on how to penetrate the market. So what we believe is that it doesn't, as long as the partner wants to be in that space and can see opportunities in that space, then we're there to provide as much as they want to take from us of value, or as little, right? So some of the larger partners, they lean on us for our expertise certainly of our technical expertise, and certainly on some of our vendor products, and some of the smaller partners may take more of our expertise, not only in tech, or they may be technical partners, but they may not have they may lack the resources in marketing or in sales techniques or lead generation and that sort of thing. So a partner, I think, is really, it doesn't really matter where they fit in that, as long as we are there. And I think that's our role behind them, is to support them in that, whichever part of that journey they're in. But they got to be on that journey. That's the key thing. They got to understand that their customers are looking for, are needing, and want security or cybersecurity to protect their infrastructure and their networks. So they're going to be on that journey, and therefore they can lean on us to get any part. So they can come in all forms of shapes and sizes. There's no one profile, I would say, that works, right, that they need to be in. I think the profile is that they got to see the opportunity and have the relationship with their customers that they can bring us into. And that's why we're here, and that's what we do, and that's our value. I think really our value in this, that we have. It goes back to the previous question, where we had a band of, we've got lots of vendors and solutions which fix a problem. We need to then take those through with the partner to their customer, but the partner has got to bring us to that, and then we'll help solve those problems.
Yeah,
I think that answers that. Yeah.
No, absolutely. Yeah, I know it's a really good perspective, and I think it just goes to kind of highlight the amount of diversity that there is in the channel landscape in terms of skills and focus areas.
Yeah.
You also mentioned earlier in the conversation MSPs, and I think that's been a fascinating, part of the market that's shown great growth, and obviously you cited some very strong growth numbers in your MSP business. What do you think is really driving this growth for you and within your partner base?
I think what's driving this growth is the final customer is looking at different ways of consuming products. They've got they want the ability to scale up, scale down. The pandemic has shown us this, right? What's happening? All of a sudden, they had to scale up to get everybody from the office to home, and working from there. So that can be a short-term thing, and they want the flexibility and the agility in that way to be able to do so, right? Mm-hmm. And so that does cause a spike in that sort of thing. And as we come out of lockdown, as we possibly go back to the offices, they may want to scale down in a different way, right? Or consume a different product that's going to allow them to do that. So that it's being driven by that sort of angle, and I think it takes there's the other side of it is the end customer is willing to embrace newer technologies if the risk of taking on a new technology and being tied in for a long period, it takes that risk out. It's risky business, right? So they can adapt, they can mold, they can try new things, and really be first adopters on a certain element of it, and see if that actually does fit into their model, into their business. and by having the flexibility of scaling up and down, this allows them to do so. So I think that's where we're seeing where the growth is coming from. The final customer is driving that through. They don't want to be committed for, in some cases we've seen deal sizes of nearly 3 years or 5 years. They're committed into that. They've paid for these things, and as technology is moving so fast, things are changing, right?
Yeah.
So how can they be committed for 5 years when, within 2 years, the whole landscape can change? Something else could come out, and they got to therefore have the budgets to do so. But budgets aren't unlimited. Certainly in the IT world, they probably get the smallest budgets. Well, they used to. Certainly these days, it's got a bit better. But they've got to use that wisely. So this allows them to do that, and I think that's really addressing those skills. The other side is skill shortages. They can leave everything to an MSP. MSP can deal with all their problems and just bill them on a monthly basis as they go along, and that helps as well. So there's lots of reasons why it's going in that direction, and I think that's the reasons why we're seeing we made that commitment. We actually were doing it for a longer time since 2019, but we created that specific division to deal with that for that purpose. And therefore, we started putting resources into that from 2019 onwards. So, in that period, we've seen a huge growth, and it's going well. And we see it's going to continue. Yeah. I don't think that's stopping. And from our point of view, from our business point of view, that's given us a reoccurring revenue, a revenue stream that we see that almost occurs every month, every quarter. We know we have a good idea of the billings. They do go up and down, but you can draw a line through those, and it can fairly be it is growing in the upwards direction, but it's going moving in a cycle way.
Yeah. That's great to hear. So, Mukesh, we're looking to wrap up now, but we want to end on a note of optimism. Obviously, 2020 has been a bit of a challenging year for our planet. Cybersecurity itself can be a bit of a downer sometimes, just constantly battling all these threats. But what are you optimistic about as we head towards 2021? What do you think we can feel positive about?
Well, I think for us as a business, we it's been that challenging year. We've seen a slow uptake in new projects and things like that through the year. But we as a business still managed to maintain our numbers. We retained all our staff, and in fact, like I said, we've seen other areas of our business grow. So going into 2020, putting all this behind us, we're in a great position to drive that forward now, and I think the way we've structured the business gives us, it's almost like a launch pad to drive the business even further forward, and I think therefore having all our talent with us, that's key. We managed to maintain that and give them. Lots of time to do training and those sorts of things to come out a bit stronger. So I think we're from that point of view, from a positioning point of view, we've maintained our customers, we've maintained our staff, we've actually added new technologies in. We're in a very, very positive position to accelerate into 2021, and that's what's I think that's what's making us look forward to this, and really are excited that that we can see the light at the end of this tunnel for 2020, and we think that 2021 is going to be a good year. Yeah, it does obviously depend on the economy itself, and there is certainly with what's been going on, there's smaller players, and I hate to say it, will be disappearing, right? They may struggle in the current climate. The larger competitors of ours will probably look at high volume deals and be focused on in those areas. So that leaves a huge space for us to capitalize in, where we can really add our value into. And I think that place, that space, that market for us has just got bigger, and therefore we need to capitalize on that. And it's down to us to win that. It's all open for us.
Absolutely. Very good. Well, thank you, Mukesh. We're all hope for a very strong 2021. I want to thank you for taking the time to speak with us today, and hopefully we get to catch up again soon.
Thank you very much. Thank you.